Hello Super Animals, I'm Shifty and this is the start of a new series called SAR-CAP, where I will be updating you on all the recent events of Super Animal Royale. Some of you might be asking, what is the Mooseletter? Well, starting in February of 2025, Pixar began releasing a monthly newsletter and development blog called the Mooseletter. In this edition of SAR-CAP, I'll recap February. March's recap can be found by clicking the info card in the top right corner of your screen now. In the February edition of the Mooseletter, Pixar shared some exciting news about the upcoming expansion, Super Animal World, and whether they've completed a vertical slice, where they've been testing the core mechanics of the expansion, such as NPC interactions, quests, and minigames. It's rough around the edges, but it's intended to demonstrate features of the game and has been key to helping the team see what needs improvements. Since 2017, Pixar has been working on a lore bible for Super Animal Royale to help keep things in check. For instance, in-game world building through NPC dialogue, the environment, and secret locations, to the YouTube series Super Animal Royale Tonight, which has been confirmed to return after Super Animal World is complete. They aim to continue building on what exists within the environment and were inspired by player interactions within the lobby in 2019, imagining what a social space could be like beyond the Battle Royale game mode. In April of 2020, they'd begun experimenting with NPC storytelling with the Trial of Skullcats update, where you could speak to Dr. Jennifer Dogner in the Secret Lab or the first Super Skullcat in the Super Sphinx, where the team reflect on the in-game chaos of speaking to them both and learnt how much we, as the players, enjoyed this form of storytelling. This update will provide players with a new social hub to interacting with friends at your own pace. They have also developed new tools to assist in dialogue building, allowing for a faster and smoother process in building any future updates. Pixar has warned there's only so much story they can tell within the first release of Super Animal World, as they'd like to push the update sooner rather than later and emphasise this is still a multiplayer game. This current build of Super Animal World will lay the foundations for the future and drastically improve the tutorial for the new players, while also giving existing players the ability to interact with the characters and discover lore. Ruben, the resident lore master, story and video director, highlights how important it is to make the world actually feel like it's alive, which is why it's his job during the development of the expansion to populate the environment with the NPCs, lore and story. Over on Blue Sky and Twitter, the Pixar account requested questions from the community to answer within the Mooseletter, and they chose to answer many of them. I'll go through all the questions and answers now. Chris Kit Blondie writes, will there be a storyline or lore in this mode? Pixar replies with, yes, this is one of the main things we're adding in the expansion. It's hard to have deep conversations with NPCs when you're being shot at, so the new social hub is designed, in part, as a place to bring the story and lore of Super Animal World to life. Given what we do know about Super Animal World prior to this update, we knew there was going to be additional lore about a couple characters and implied expansion on the lore of the game, so it's nice to know that the lore is 100% being expanded upon, as well as for the addition of some form of story. Nico writes, will there be any updates or improvements on the map to make it more livelier for the Super Animal World gameplay? Pixel replies with, yep, we have pretty cool new areas being added to the map in the expansion, and more planned down the line too. This one is pretty exciting as it implies there'll be changes in Battle Royale map and potentially give us more maps in the future for Saw vs Rebellion. It's always been a mode I've loved, but it's been bittersweet at times due to the repetition of the small amount of maps there are. Elias writes, will you be able to explore the entire Super Animal Royale map, or will it just be a small bit? Pixar replies with, Super Animal World can be explored in its entirety in the social hub. This is particularly great as the only chance you have right now is through private lobbies of event hosts, content creators and staff, or through the pre-matched lobby where there's a timer looming over you until you're swooped away by the eagle. Wheezy writes, does the story within the island follow anything in Super Animal Royale Tonight, or is the story completely separated? Also, will there be a way to spend Carl points in Super Animal World? Pixar replies with, all the foundational world building we've done throughout Super Animal Royale Tonight and all other videos will be reflected and expanded upon here. In addition, we're experimenting with ways to further integrate Super Animal Royale Tonight episodes with what's happening in-world when the show returns, after Super Animal World's release. There will also be more ways to spend Carl coins inside the game. We're still working on designing new ways to spend them. I've really missed Super Animal Royale tonight. It was a really enjoyable and silly way to expand upon the lore of the world in a medium outside of a game, as well as being able to not only make myself laugh, but connect with the community through viewer submit clips of the best and silliest moments of the game. I'm glad that it's returning. Winky Salsa writes, what was the main inspiration behind Super Animal World? Socializing, lore, or expanding the game into more of a battle royale? Pixar responds with, this is a tough one to answer since the answer is really all of the above. One thing we realised very early that makes Super Animal Royale stand out from the other multiplayer games is how friendly and social the community is before these matches. We're so lucky to have a community we do, so for a long time we've wanted to create more spaces for these kinds of interactions, something that just isn't possible in a quick pre-match lobby. Like everyone else, we've come to love the characters and the world developed in Super Animal Royale tonight, and this expansion gives us more opportunities to explore it in a very new way. With Super Animal World, we're able to set the foundation for even more storytelling for years to come. I have to give it to Pixar. The community they've been able to foster has been one of the best communities out there. Everybody's really friendly, they're all willing to help each other out, they support each other on projects like the Wiki or collaborative art efforts, and they've built the game in a way that supports this socialization and conversation with your fellow player. You don't really see this with a lot of the other battle royales out there. Unflapped Flea writes, will the battle royale aspects of the game get any updates or quality of life improvements? Pixar replies with, yes, we're always thinking about ways to improve our game modes, and new ones that we could add later. Super Animal World's launch will primarily focus on the new social hub and everything within it, but it also includes game and quality of life improvement, and we have lots of ideas built up that we want to get to after Super Animal World, so keep all your feedback coming for what you'd like to see next. It's understandable why the game hasn't had much content given the scope and scale of the Super Animal World expansion, but at the same time I'm personally looking forward to the next big update to the Battle Royale mode. These events are enough to keep players coming back, but I also see the frustration that others have with this lack of content. Kirby Light 2 writes, is this an online or offline game mode? Pixar replies with, Super Animal World will be an online experience. It's designed to be experienced with friends and strangers. Offline could certainly be interesting, but unfortunately with the way the game is developed, it'd be massively technical undertaking, so it might not be feasible. It would be cool to see Super Animal Royale gain some form of offline mode in terms of playing with the bots within limited time modes, Battle Royale, or the story-focused Super Animal World expansion. It'd also give me another game out of my small rotation I could play while on the go on the Steam Deck, but this is sadly not as possible as a lot of people wish for. Casey Hartley writes, will the limited time modes get updates at some point as well, specifically things unique for that game mode instead of the reused Battle Royale stuff? Pixar replies with, limited time modes will definitely get updates. Super Animal World won't focus on major changes to LTMs, but The Walking Dead is high on our list for a future update as it hasn't received quite as many rounds of polish as Battle Royale and SAR vs Rebellion. We have a lot of ideas how to improve it when the time is right. Mode-specific items and mechanics are something we consider carefully, since we're a small indie team and we have to be mindful of where we focus our time, ensuring that any additional meaningful enhance long-term fun without pulling too much time away from everything we've been building. That said, we've definitely leaned into unique mode-specific features before. The giant star-nosed mole and class selection in SAR vs Rebellion are great examples. We're a bit cautious when it comes to weapons and utilities exclusive to a single mode, since we love that players can learn mechanics in one mode and carry that knowledge into others, but we're always open to fresh ideas, so if there's something you'd like to see, let us know. As said to a previous question, I'm looking forward to when the main game begins to receive updates again. I don't really play the limited time game modes as much as the other players, but that might also be contributed to the lack of updates after having played them for so long. Jackalbean writes, will there be ways to gain experience in Super Animal World so we're able to still gain levels and tiers in season passes? Pixar replies with yes. Experience can be earned in Super Animal World. We're aiming for it to provide a similar amount of experience as other game modes so players can play the game that they want to. We're actually working on balancing it as we speak. I really like that they're having experience not being way too much between the modes, which I feel is incredibly important since the community is rather small. You don't want to encourage anyone to play a particular way or game mode for any reason other than they genuinely would enjoy it more. Craven Carnage writes, how and when did the process go from suggesting Super Animal World to the actual start of the development? Pixar replies with, we first conceived our Super Animal World back in 2019, but we had so many other things to build for the game first, and it was such a big idea that we weren't ready to dive into it right away. It took quite a few years of pre-production, game design, and planning before we actually felt ready to fully dig into development on it. Focused development began in earnest after the Sea Legs update. I could always see this game as having some sort of mode for socialization, even if it was just some form of hub like the lobby, but you don't get taken away by the eagle. Think picture chat rooms from the Nintendo DS, but it's silly animals in this game. I'm really thankful that developers are looking beyond the scope of Battle Royale when it comes to Super Animal Royale. Angela writes, in the story mode with the NPC's quests, there will be multiple routes according to what was seen, but these are permanent, or can you take one at a time while doing another? Does that influence your relationship with the characters? Will Donk and Howl even appear? Pixar responds with, you'll be able to take on multiple NPC quests at a time, but some will require completing other quests to unlock them. We're not currently building relationship systems for NPCs, but it's definitely something that has been on our minds and we're open to it. We'll be curious to hear everyone's thoughts on where they want to see things evolve next once the first version of Super Animal World is in your paws. We don't want to spoil too much about the story content for now, especially since it's all still in development and things could still change, but we still have some plans for Donk and Howl that will come later when Super Animal Royale Tonight returns, so not at Super Animal World's launch. That said, we're not leaving Super Animal World Studios empty for the initial release. There was a lot of questions to go through, but answers many of the burning thoughts that the community has been eager to hear since Super Animal World was first mentioned. It's exciting to not only hear, but see how far along Pixar has come with the expansion, and that we aren't the only ones who are excited for its release. I know that I'll be playing a lot more Super Animal Royale once it drops. I'm also really curious to see how the quest mechanic will be implemented, and how difficult the level of skill required to complete these will be. I'm hoping that it's not incredibly simple like how some of the current challenges in the regular game are, as many are more tedious than anything as well. The game should be accessible for everyone, but requiring some skill for a few wouldn't hurt too much, and would be appreciated for the more dedicated players. I also wonder, will we get Super Animal World related achievements? Moving away from the questions and answers, another big update for the community of Super Animal Royale is the announcement and new home for the Wiki. It's now being hosted at wiki.animalroyale.com under the official Super Animal Royale domain. I've reached out to Phantom, an admin for the wiki, to give her perspective on the change.
Thanks, Shifty. The decision to leave fandom was spearheaded by our lead admin, Frisk. The idea had been long since floated around in the official SAR Discord, and was brought up from time to time amongst the most dedicated of us editors. Eventually, we decided Mirror Haze was the best place to go due to their lack of ads and being funded entirely on donations. The biggest bonus of moving from fandom was the ability to style the wiki and take a uniquely super animal approach, such as the wiki mascots and Donk pixel art on the search bar. If you've ever used fandom before, you'll know how awful it is in terms of reader experience. That was the biggest part of our move. There's a great video on Mossbag from the Hollow Knight community about why they moved from fandom, and another from Dim4 detailing the Minecraft community's history with the company. Both can be found in the description. That's all I have to say for now. Back over to you, Shifty.
Moving on towards the end of the blog, the year of the Super Snake event had not long ended before this blog was published, so artwork was chosen by Pixel to share within their monthly Mooseletter. In the background now, you can see various pieces of art made by the community. And finally, to end off, the Chinese Super Animal Royale community came together for a huge group photo. Apologies in advance if I butcher any of your names, but it was organised by Mao Mao, Huan Fun, Aik Shun, Rowan An, Matthias Blade, Little Fish, and Debayo Lingdu. This has been SAR-CAP. Thank you so much for listening, and keep on fighting, super animals. In the February edition of the Mooseletter, Pixel shared some. In the February edition of the Mooseletter, Pixel shared some. In the February edition of Mooseletter, Pixel said, and were inspired by player interactions within the lobby in 2017. where you could speak to Dr. Jennifer. It's always been a mode I've loved, but it's been better. So players can play the game the way